What you doing?
Grinding off some rust and residue that's on this trailer tongue, getting ready to repaint it.
Do you want to tell them about the axle?
Hi, I'm Rick.
And I'm Sharon.
And we are Cargo On.
Cargo Conversion Building Camp. We feature camper tours, interviews with builders, campground reviews, and camping tips. If that's your cup of tea, then please subscribe.
As you may or may not know, we had a minor accident with the trailer on our last trip. Hit a pothole pulling into a gas station. And it bent the rim on the tire, and the tire was going flat when we pulled up to the gas pumps. Ended up having to take it into the shop and get a new axle. I had been toying with the idea of doing something different with the axle anyway, either flipping it and mounting it under the leaf springs or changing it out. So this had a 4-inch dropped axle on it. I put a straight axle on it, which saved me about $90, and it raised the trailer 4 inches. So now there's new possibilities. One, that we could put a freshwater or gray water tank underneath, high enough now that we can put a slide out step side door. And it's also high enough that the existing gray water fitting that I have should be able to find a container that we can use to collect the gray water that'll fit. Pothole cost me about $550, but that $550 was for a new axle and brand new hubs and new bearings. So I replaced pretty much everything but the leaf springs. Even the shackle brackets on the leaf springs are new, and the bolts.
Does it ride different?
Hardly noticeable, but I think that it actually does ride a little nicer being elevated like this. It's more in line with the height of the vehicle. And I took my hitch receiver, which had about a 2.5-inch drop, and I flipped it, so that brought the tongue up a little bit when I'm towing now, so that the trailer remains level instead of being pitched downhill. I thought I was going to maybe have to even buy a receiver with more offset, but so far it seems fine. You try to be as safe as possible with your equipment and the maintenance and connecting and your driving habits on the road, and then it just takes one or two little things to totally sink you. We had 2 incidents in one day. One, I had to back up in a parking lot of a Denny's because they had one of the exits blocked, so I couldn't do a around the building drive. I had to turn around and come back out the way I came in. And the spare was attached to my tongue-mounted toolbox, and it snapped the bolts and broke the toolbox loose, so I had to take that off of the tongue for the trip home. Then the second thing was we had to stop for gas, and one of the gas stations had a pothole right alongside their entry into the gas station. It had rained up there, so it was full of water, and I didn't realize it was in fact a pothole. I just thought it was a shallow puddle.
I knew it was a pothole.
And
I screamed.
In my defense, you could see about that much asphalt sticking up above the wall. It just looked totally unobtrusive.
From my angle, and of course we're sitting on different sides of the truck, it was clearly a pothole, a huge pothole. And I'm thinking, why is he going through that pothole? And I'm screaming, pothole, hole, hole, hole.
You know, it's like when God created man, he took a rib and created woman, and the rib that he took out of a man was his ability to read minds and be able to foresee the future.
You know, and I'm going to be so nice because, you know why? Because our audience is 96% male, so I'm just going to zip it. He's absolutely right.
So anyway, she saw as a definitive pothole, I saw as a puddle. I found out very shortly that it was in fact a pothole. We pulled over to the side of the building where they had an air dispensing unit, coin operated, which gladly took our money but didn't dispense any air. And it turned out that pothole was deep enough it bent the rim on the trailer.
Well, which we didn't know till we were getting gas. And then I got out of the car and I'm like, Rick, I think the tire's leaking.
Our tire on the trailer was going flat as we sat there at the pump.
This whole outfit, it was a store and a Dunkin' Donuts. So I go in there, I ask to use the restroom. They have no restroom. Neither one of the stores has it. And the Dunkin' Donuts was closing. And it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the air doesn't work. And to boot, they have a huge pothole, and I'm annoyed.
They were very quick to inform us that because of the proximity to the highway, the pothole was the Department of Transportation's problem and not theirs. And we proceeded to change the tire, and then found out we couldn't change the tire because my lug wrench on my truck, which was the same size as the lug nuts as what's on the trailer, but unfortunately the way the trailer tire is made, it has a protrusion in the middle for the grease bearing. There wasn't enough clearance between this hub cover and the nut in order to get my lug wrench on. So we get on the internet and find a auto parts store where I can go and get a lug wrench. At that time, a guy pulls into the pump.
With a cargo camper.
Yeah, he had a cargo camper. Sharon goes over and talks to him, and he said he can help us. So he came over. He had a battery-operated DeWalt impact gun, which I was amazed. Took those lug nuts off like butter because
Guess what you're getting for Christmas?
they had been put on with an impact gun. Anyway, with his help, we got the tire changed, and then noticed that it still didn't look right. The tire now had a lean to it that it didn't have before, and that's when we realized that we had apparently done some sort of damage to the axle, but I wasn't sure what at that point. We decided that we'll limp along at a lower speed, and we'll check it every few miles to make sure that whatever's wrong isn't getting progressively worse.
That was like the endless drive home. And
So,
nerve-wracking.
the tire didn't seem to be wobbling. It was just operating at a lean. And after a while, I started to develop a little more confidence that it would at least last until we got home.
And it did.
But we decided that we would get off of the high-speed interstates and take the back roads home, which added a few hours to our trip. Following Monday, I made arrangements to find a place that could take the trailer in and get it repaired.
Camper's looking kind of spiffy. We're thinking about
Some sort of graphics on the side. Since the trailer's got windows on the sides and window in the door, and we've been starting to put stickers on the back doors for
Oh yes, we have our
all the
sticker collection.
various places that we've been to camping.
I also want a little YouTube symbol with our name on. Thinking about doing that because we really can't wait to pull into a campground and have people say, "That's them! That's them! That's those weirdos!"
My trailer's 8 years old. I found out when this accident happened with the axle that even though I thought I was taking pretty good care of it, I seemed to have had some wear on the bearings that I was totally unaware of. There was a little bit of slop in the wheels when you shook them. You could hear a little bit of chuckle. The bearings having some play to them.
Did you say chuckle?
Yeah, that's what they call it. But it's just a little bit of play that you get a clacking sound.
Oh, now it's clacking. First it was slop, then it was a chuckle, now it's a clacking.
I can't help it you don't understand guy talk.
Here's a fun fact. Rick's van is a 2000 former New York City police van. It was used in the detective unit. He's very attached to this van because he knows it was at 9/11. Rick has an announcement of something very special that we're going to be taping every nail, screw, piece of dust.
We're getting the van back, had a new engine put into it, a remanufactured engine. And we're going to do a minimalist conversion on it.
Minimalist.
A majority of it is already finished. It has a finished ceiling, finished walls in it, and carpeted floor. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but we're going to do a bed with some storage underneath, maybe a slide-out kitchen coming out of the back, getting it ready to be able to camp in it as a sole vehicle on a road trip instead of having to drag the trailer everywhere. So it'll help the gas mileage immensely.
So this is going to be interesting because now we have the YouTube channel first, then we're going to do the little conversion in the van. And like he said, it's going to be very minimalistic. It's not going to be anything fancy.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't going to be fancy, but...
Well, that's what, I don't know what your minimalistic is going to be, but the budget is not large for this, so I'm fine with a bed and a cassette toilet. And your cooking camping stove from tent camping. But, you know, I really want to go out west, and I'm thinking with gas prices, rather than on a trailer, that may be much more practical. So we're going to be looking for some van ideas. If you have any, put them in the comments below. That's a wrap, everyone. You know what to do if you like this video.
You won't come back now, you hear?